Hey guys, this is Jeff Packard, and I'm going to share with you some of my notes. Jeannie and I just got back from a Brendan Burchard seminar, Experts Academy, and I've got my journal filled with notes. I'm just going to share with you some of the things that I took away from it. Jeannie will be going back to Brendan's, kind of his mastery thing. So, he spent a lot of money on the seminar and also took a lot of value away from it. His one thing he kept on saying was value. His main intention is to add value and teach people. And he says we're all an expert in something, and probably you've taken years to develop whatever you developed. And he's really saying it's your obligation to share it with other people. And that's a great philosophy. And I don't think it's trendy. Because a lot of the seminar speakers are very trendy, but great philosophy. And start something that matters. Are you doing something that really makes a difference, or are you just doing it? If you're just doing it to make a buck or pays the bills, then that's probably not the right thing. So you got to do some soul searching. It really took me a long time at the seminar to figure out what I wanted to share in my expertise, and a lot of you probably know that I built a business, a direct sales business with thousands of people and I don't know how many customers, but a lot of customers, and was able to escape the rat race within 2 years. Rat race meaning that I worked for someone else. Now the guy that I worked for, I didn't take the job to make money, and I remember my friends in college, said they were going to be investment bankers and stuff like that. They were going to get a job, $100,000 that pays them $100,000 a year, and you and I both know that doesn't exist. You got to earn it. And so instead, I actually, I'll never forget it. My dad had a company called American Business Systems. I was going to say Solutions. Sorry, Dad. But it was a solution, right? But and he had a guy come in that was selling a seminar, a speaker that was coming to town, and this guy that was, prepping them about this seminar, his name is Paul Schween. And Paul, if you're listening, I owe a lot to you. My family does as well. And my dad got talking about me because I was going to graduate from Arizona State University. Thankfully, it took me 4 years, but I busted my hump in the summer sessions and the winter sessions. Yeah, that was a struggle. That's a different video. But anyway, he said Jeff's going to be graduating soon, so he'd taken an apprenticeship with a photocopier company out in Arizona, and he's also looking for insurance sales. And the reason why I was looking at insurance sales is because I like the residual income part of it. So if I gain enough customers that pays me a residual per month, and that made sense to me. But I'll never forget interviewing with John Hancock. They basically said you're going to be calling out of the phone book. That doesn't appeal to a lot of people. It didn't appeal to me at that time. And I went to a seminar, a big seminar, one of those gigantic seminars where you see Tony Robbins, like Barbara Bush, Donald Trump, those type of gigantic seminars where you get tickets for basically free or next to nothing, and then they sell you whatever they have to offer, right? So I remember having a breakfast with Paul Schween and my dad, and Paul's like, well, you're graduating, what are you going to do? And I said, I just got back from the seminar, and I really liked it. He's like, well, here's in Scottsdale. Now, Scottsdale is kind of the mecca of professional speakers. Og Mandino, the greatest salesman in the world, lived on Camelback Mountain. Robert Kiyosaki lives here, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Jim Rohn has a place here, the late Jim Rohn. Tom Hopkins. And he says, I actually used to work for a guy named Ron Marks that promoted Tom Hopkins. He also promoted Brian Tracy and Jim Rohn and those guys. And I didn't know who these guys were at all, right? I just know who Tony Robbins was. And my dad's like, really, Tom Hopkins? And because my dad is, he's probably the best salesman I've ever seen. And so anyway, that's another video. We're going to actually do a free video for like a conversation, a candid conversation with me and my dad, and his goal setting formula in his worksheet. And and he was also a Dale Carnegie instructor and taught the sales training course for I think 15 years. And we got some great stuff coming. So anyway, I'm going to do that. But I said, no, I've never heard of Tom Hopkins. And he said, well, I can get you an interview. That's about all I can do. And I remember getting the interview, and my dad has been having us write down our goals since middle school. Um, so I had all my goals with me. And I said and he's like, you're fresh out of, basically they said, you're fresh out of college, why should we hire you? Because what I would be doing is, I had two options. I could be inside sales, making phone calls and calling people like Keller Williams offices and places like that had sales organizations and say, listen, Tom Hopkins is going to be coming to town. We'd like to put on a free workshop for you and send one of our trainers out and give you a brief overview of what you would be learning if you chose to go to the seminar or not. And so basically I could be inside sales, or I could be that trainer that comes in and does those free presentations and live on the road. Seattle, Texas, Florida. So coming out of college, what do you think I want to do, right? And I'm a social guy, so I obviously chose outside sales. My first presentation sucked. In fact, they recorded me, and they actually shut off the recorder. It was so bad. I'll never forget it. I felt awful. But, you learn and grow, and you get better. And I got better. So anyway, I did that for a while. But why they hired me is, going back to that, is because I actually had my goals. I have them in a workbook. Actually, they're upstairs. Maybe I'll share that with you some other time. But I have all my goals, and I said, listen, I don't have any experience. I'm new. My dad was an entrepreneur. He's a salesperson. He knows who Tom Hopkins is. I don't. I'm a student. I can study. I've gone through the Tony Robbins stuff. I'm young. I know that I'm young, but I'm also very impressionable. You can mold a young person if they know that they don't know anything. So I was unconscious, incompetent at the time, but I also knew that I didn't know. So that would be the next step. So conscious, incompetent. Okay. So I said, listen. I said, here are my goals. I said, you can go through them and and see if it's a good fit to hire me. So anyway, so I pushed my goals, and the guy's name was Tom Kaufman that was sitting there, and he said, listen, I'd like to have you share exactly what you shared with me about your goals with the owner. So Ron Marks came in, he said, and he listened to my spiel, my sales presentation, right, and gave it to him, and he's like, okay. Basically, they took a chance on me. They did. It was a great opportunity. I think I did a good job for him. Now, I wasn't the top producer, I'll tell you that. I was average, but a job opportunity. So Tom Hopkins used to travel around with two guys that set up his seminars, took care of them, sold the product, took the money, and all that kind of stuff. And I was very entrepreneurial. They knew that. They knew that I was doing side businesses on the road. Okay, I was building some network marketing companies on the road, and they just don't. They said, make sure when you spend time with us, you spend time with us, and when you spend time in your off time, that you can do whatever you want. And so that's what I did. But they said, Tom has a job opportunity opening up, and I said, yeah, because that gave me a little salary. It wasn't a big salary, and it also allowed me to still be on the road. But whenever Tom had a seminar, we would travel. So we'd have a lot of off time. So we had 3 or 4 seminars, in a month. Then we would, go to those places. But between those times, I had a lot of time to do whatever I wanted to. And I'll never forget playing golf with Tom Hopkins. He said to me, he's like, Jeff, you have some time off. What are you going to do? And I said, listen, I had gumball machines in college. I'm thinking about putting those out again that produce a cash flow, residual income, and passive income to me. And also, I've been learning a lot about real estate. I've been going to your seminars for a while now, and I find that the most successful people in your seminars have 2 things in common. They have their own business or they invest in property. And that's how Tom built his wealth. So he sold real estate. Oh, man.